One of my favorite things to do in beamng.drive is just to set an objective, take a car, especially one that is entirely inappropriate for said objective, and then do it and see how it goes. Obviously, beamng is just a sandbox. It is what you make of it. Scenarios are a thing, but I mean, why not just invent your own scenarios? This is basically a BMW Alpina. It's a four-wheel drive, 4.4 liter V8 car, obviously with huge rims. It's not really made to go off-road, but we're going to be attempting to go up this spiraling canyon with it. I've done this once before, not with a car, but with a proper off-roader, and it went pretty good, so let's do it with this. And then the goal is essentially to jump off of the top. There's a huge ramp at the top where you then fall down the cliff after you've gone up it, so let's do it. Two things going on today. One, it's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day. And then two, I'm using the Moza R5 racing wheel and pedals with this setup. It's completely unnecessary for what I'm doing, but it's a lot of fun to do rock crawling stuff with a full wheel setup. And this is the easiest way to test it. Hopefully we don't actually do any rock crawling though. But let's go. Let's get into this. Immediately I have the wheel turned a little bit too much. But yeah, the name of the game here is not necessarily to go fast. I really do not want to have to reset the car too often. We may have to make some modifications to get over top of certain obstacles, but it is what it is. If I can't do it, then we will have to make adjustments. This car, again, is not really made to go off-road, but it will be a lot of fun in this situation, I think. Although traction control is becoming a bit of a problem, so immediately we're going to turn that. Drift is not really what we want. Okay, off should hopefully give me the edge here. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what we need. No traction control and as much slippage as humanly possible. This isn't even the challenge, this is just the road to the challenge, so yeah, wish me luck here. This gets narrow, oh my goodness. So whenever I get a new wheel, and in this case a new full setup, I want to test it, obviously, and kind of get a feel for it. And I find the best way to do that is on a slow course rather than a fast one. And that way you can kind of get a feel for how it goes when it goes over bumps, how it responds to your inputs, especially in like tight enclosed areas. This is really not bad. Originally I was like, hey, let's go rock crawling, let's pick an actual like rock crawler out and do that. Could be fun, but instead I decided to do this as an alternative. You can kind of see where we're going here. Right now we've gone up from that valley down there, up the side, and I should probably put on the brakes before we fly off into the abyss, and we are going around and around and around and around until we get to the top, and it's basically just like this all the way there, with a few exceptions. The higher we go, the higher the margin of error, because if I fall, then we're screwed. And I don't want to necessarily have to go all the way back over here. That'd be too much. So this video is not sponsored or anything like that. It's Moza did send me this wheel, but there were no stipulations and there's no contract. It's literally just, hey, check this out. And then I was like, okay, cool. Basically my plan is I have a Camus wheel, I have a Logitech wheel, I have this Moza wheel, and I'm kind of keen to see how they do versus each other. Now this wheel that I'm using right now is the most expensive of the three by a long shot, especially because they also sent me a clutch pedal and like a fancy racing spring swap thing that they have on offer that I don't have in there currently because I want to test it kind of at its basic form first. This one is accessorized, so it's not quite an equal footing. That being said, based on the pictures you should be able to see, this is a bit of a different setup than the Camus wheel, where the Camus wheel is also direct drive, but it has the motor in the steering wheel. This one is actually a base, and the steering wheel is a clip-on piece. Okay, I gotta try to like lean back here and actually get into a real driving position because I need to be able to hit the brakes. Otherwise, we're gonna end up down there. So the car's doing pretty good so far. The front bumper is damaged, but that doesn't matter. I was thinking I was gonna do a prep the car for the track type of thing before this, and we'll do a bit of a build. But what I decided to do instead was, if we find an obstacle that just cannot be passed, or we get to the point where the car is so broken that it's just not gonna work anymore, then we will upgrade. But already I'm starting to see some potential issues ahead. That is very narrow. You may have just heard a train horn, and that is because my new house just happens to be very close to a train line, and so a feature of my upcoming videos will be trains, because I don't think there's any way to avoid them. My windows are closed right now. Well, not all of them. It will be a little bit quieter in the near future. Boys, this is not ideal. We are currently dragging on the ground, and yeah, I mean, there's smooth pavement up there, but this is not a fall I want to take. Okay, we're gonna do the classic, okay, we're gonna do the not doing whatever I just did there, because that was terrible. That was really close. Okay, I think we found the first obstacle that we cannot get past realistically. Hold on, time for some modifications. So I really didn't want to have to modify the car too much. There's some things that we have to change, but there's things that we also don't necessarily need. One of the issues that we have is ride height, and obviously traction is a big one as well, so suspension is going to have to change, I think. Okay, I've made a few adjustments. Basically, I've switched to wide track suspension, so we have extra width. I'm going to put the car into park before it flies down the ravine. And then I had to reset the car, obviously, to make these changes. But with wide suspension and raised suspension, I took off the fancy, very fancy, I think it's like Ren Sport something, whatever the BeamNG version of Alpina is. Essentially, now we have stock suspension that is raised very, very high. No more fancy stuff, instead normal stuff, just raised. So slowly, ever so slowly, we get rid of the good stuff, switching it for the bad. Okay, just leaving it in drive and just kind of easing into things a little bit. My next sort of thought is going to be, we'll probably have to put on off-road wheels, because the wheels are a little bit too slippery. However, with this section, we shouldn't drag on the ground now that we actually have some ground clearance, and I think my suspicion there is correct, because no more issues so far. Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on, please. There we go. Okay, yeah. Ground clearance was the answer. One of the cool parts about these sort of fancy racing wheels, and obviously I come from an Xbox controller, so it's nice to have a little bit of luxury. Oh my goodness. Is when you get the settings right, when you get them tuned in, you can feel the bumps on the road, and that's probably one of the coolest aspects of this. Also, this car is supposed to be all-wheel drive, and I'm smoking the rears, or dust in the rears, a lot more than the front, which is not ideal. Oh, that's darn close. Okay, just huff it. Just go for it. Yes! Okay, our first major obstacle complete. And this car is looking a little bit different than it did before. Oh man, that alignment though. But this is where this thing can shine. We got speed, we got power, 150 kilometers an hour, like it's nothing. Switched into a different accent there, just forget about it. Looking ahead though, I'm seeing a lot more of what we just did. So, while we're here on the bridge, let's make another mod. It's time to switch up these wheels. Something a little bit more off-road spec. Okay, it took a while, but I found tires and wheels that I'm happy with. Basically, these are all-terrain tires, and they are 15-inch rims, which is very small and probably too small for the brakes on this car, but it doesn't seem to care. We'll see if that matters at all. Hopefully not. Oh no, we're good. We're all good. One of the things I also want to do here, and it doesn't seem like I'm able to do it with the basic stuff, is to tune the transmission so it sends more power to the front. Alright, with a few changes, we now have actual tunable differentials, which is good. So that means this car is hopefully a little bit more ready to take on this challenge with these off-road wheels and suspension. I think that's going to be enough. My next sort of course of action is to get more ground clearance, which means probably cutting off some of the body panels, but hopefully we don't need to go there. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. This is a bit of a climb. So this is my, oh jeez. This is not going as well as I'd hoped. Let's get that wheel spin up. This is BeamNG after all. Oh man. Hold on a minute. What is going on? What is happening? Okay, speed and power was the answer there. I'm thinking front alignment and camber is probably next to my list, because those wheels are cambered for racing and we are not racing right now. Turns out it's a little bit more difficult than I thought to get a stock car up this mountain, because we're not stock at all anymore. Ooh, that was almost it. So basically what I'm planning to do in the near future is to take all three of the wheels that I mentioned before, the Camus, the Moza, and the Logitech, and to do a comparison video between them, and then the one that I like the most out of that is going to get put onto my sim rig permanently until something better comes along. Oh my goodness, this is so narrow. This is ridiculously narrow. It's a good thing I picked tires that are wider than the car, otherwise we would not be getting through this. Wow. Wow. Speed, power, and just more loud pedal is how you get through that. Easy. Oh my goodness, how much damage did we take? A little bit. Little bit of damage, just a touch. Oh yeah, that'll buff out. Okay, obviously I have to give up my resetting thing, because having an axle that looks like that is just, we're not gonna be able to finish with that. So low and slow is the name of the game here. I wish this thing had low range so I could just crawl up this mountain instead of having to loud pedal our way through it to get any torque, but obviously that's just not the case. Obviously. Oh man. You know, we have a long way to go. But road trips are a time for talking about stuff, because that's what this is all about, just having fun, making memories. That's something my mom would say. Ugh. My mom used to say that, no offense, Mom. Oh jeez. Man, oh man, the car took offense to that now. On behalf of my mom. Okay, a couple more things have changed. I've given the car a bit of negative camber on the front because it was way too far positive, and I switched it to be a 6-speed manual transmission. This car is getting a workover at this point, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Actually, while I'm like doing all this stuff and while we attempt to crawl up this mountain range again, obviously I gave it a manual because I want to be able to just stay in one gear instead of having it shift up, and also we can do stuff like this where we can sit in second and fail really, really bad. Okay, this is apparently not a good strat. Oh, I also changed the gear ratio, so it's a lot more torquey, hopefully. I thought that might help. Basically, I changed it from 3.23 to, okay, stay on the road, please, to 396 on both front and rear diff. Also, we're beached. What the heck? We need more ground clearance. What I was gonna say before I beached myself is that I really like these sort of luxury cars. And I say sort of luxury cars, but they are luxury cars. Like this is supposed to be a luxury car. It's supposed to be one of the cream of the crop luxury cars that money can buy. But they're not meant to be doing stuff like what I'm trying to do right here, and that is very, very clear. Okay, some things have changed. We're still manual transmission, but now the tires are even larger than they were before. The front now has a limited slip diff because for whatever reason I forgot to put that in last time, and I'm considering cutting off the back drive shaft to make this a front wheel drive car, because the rear is what's killing me. It's kicking out every time I go forwards. Which is not helping at all with this situation. But hopefully with these massive tires, we're not going to get beached here, and then I won't be stuck anymore, hopefully. Man, I thought that this was going to be like a simple, oh yeah, no, big, massive tires were the call, apparently. Next thing is probably tire pressure at 0, because I think that's the only thing that's going to keep me alive. Less of this, more of the open road, please. What the heck am I doing? Yes. Power, yes. Come on. No, get back on the course. The car's overheating. I do not care. Let's just jam on the brakes again. Oh, okay. Well, I thought this was going to be easy. Now you're getting a preview of what's to come here. This is what was supposed to happen from the very tip top of the cliff. Oh, okay. BRB. Holy crap. Holy crap. Did I make it? I made it. I actually made it. Oh my goodness. I thought that was going to be it. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? Are we going to have to swap the entire drivetrain for a truck drivetrain? And apparently we were darn close to having to do that, because holy smokes, that was a tough one. Just the only change since the last time you saw me was that the tire pressure is 0, and that was attempt number like 5 or 6, basically. Much less of that, please. My goodness. This I can take. Like this, we can cruise. First gear, rev her up. I don't really care. The wheel is going nuts because the car is slightly damaged, and it does not like that. But I made it. That's all that matters. Holy moly. I'm tempted to go into second, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Nah. Oh, no. What's this? What is this? Okay, at least it's not cliffside. That's the worst part. We can do this. But yeah, I really like luxury sedans. I think I've said that a million times now. But I like these kind of, like this one, again, Alpina. They're never going to be within my price range, but I like those kind of cars. And I would absolutely love to modify one someday in real life. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun to just take something that is kind of regarded well as like a luxury vehicle and then use it for the most non-luxurious purposes ever. If I was ever to do a Gambler, that would be sort of my mindset. Like the Gambler 500, I mean. I'm not really into the whole chopping doors off and all that kind of stuff. It would be more like really bad hackery in terms of suspension and tire upgrades, and then just send it. I don't want to get wet, so I'm not taking out the windows. Speaking of getting wet, my new house, which is where I am now, is, well, it has a number of downsides, like the train and that kind of stuff. But there have been some good things too, including waterfront property. We are on a river. That river is not very deep for most of the way through, although it is quite large in our area. But you could definitely drive a boat on it, and a propeller boat is fine, but I tend to be a unique individual, and I'm looking at getting a jet boat. As they say, though, as soon as you buy a boat, you the happiest day is when you buy it and when you sell it, so we'll see how that goes. I think it's a little bit different when you have waterfront property, because then, like, it can just stay in my backyard, so it's not a big deal. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh no, I have to go to the dock, I gotta drop it in the water. That's a lot of effort, and a lot of money, a lot of time you probably don't have. We're back on the age-old run up the side of the mountain thing. I honestly am starting to doubt if I'm gonna make it up this mountain within any reasonable time frame. No, camera, don't you fail me now. There we go. Okay, guns blazing, Jeremy Clarkson style, not working for this section. Okay, we're gonna have to do this technically, which is hard in this car because it is not made to do off-road sections technically at all. There we go. That's technical enough. So is that. I'm gonna do the snow runner technique, just wave the wheel back and forth. There we are, free. Talking about this wheel, one of the nice things about it is it has a bunch of presets for games, like BeamNG being one of them. So when I plugged it in, it just worked with BeamNG. I did not have to set up anything, which is really nice. That is a long way down. It's going to get to the point in height where we cannot even see the bottom because it doesn't render that far. That's how high this mountain is. Yeah, we still have a long way to go. Okay, continuing. Oh, we're going to run out of time. Oh, please. Well, did you want to see the car fall down the entire progress that I've made? Because that's what you're witnessing. Oh man, it feels good to see it get crushed, and yet it feels bad at the same time. I'm gonna stick with the good. This thing is smushed. You know, it would be a crazy challenge, and I don't think that this is possible, but it would be a very fun idea. Take a purpose-built, really well-built off-roader, BMG style, and then give it a trailer and put like even a covet or a covet. Ooh, something a couple years ago ingrained deep within me. Put a covet on there and try to drag it all the way up this mountain. Now that sounds like a fun video. Oh man, I don't think I'm gonna even be able to do it in this car. Like, we're getting to a lot of these sections now where it's just getting worse and worse. Like, this is beyond normal road stuff. We're into like Death Valley type scenarios. Every single thing is just like one of these bumps where the car bottoms out and then I just get stuck or screwed or both. Thankfully, these sections are totally fine. We just gun it all the way through and bounce between every rock. Screw the wheels, screw the transmission. Easy, I like it. Oh, this looks like actual friendly terrain. This is nice compared to what we've been doing. Okay, just beans, all in first gear, 50 kilometers an hour. I think the front bumper is up in the air right now. It totally is. Come on. Come on. Yes. Oh, jeez, I see the road ahead. So last time I went up this, it was with filming. I actually forgot completely about that. Oh, wow, this is a bridge, okay. I mean, that's a general nice piece of scenery there. But we made purpose-built off-road cars, and then we went, or off-road trucks, I guess, and then we went on this route. And for an off-road vehicle, like, it's not bad at all. But for a car, it is rough. Man, oh man, this engine though, the only thing that's keeping me going right now is the sound that this 4.4 liter V8 makes. Beautiful. Just like most BMWs, like, they're great when they work, and then absolutely scary when you get to the dealership. That looks very, very sketchy. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. First of all, parking brake. Second of all, Shift C, free cam, there we go. How much further do we have? How much further do I have to go? Oh my goodness, there is a lot left. There is quite a bit left. This is the final ramp right here, and I am down there. Basically, I think that's it up there. So it's not that much further, but it is still darn far. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna say this car would probably make it to the top, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna run it off the side of the cliff right here. Right here. And we will fall to our imminent death. I'm gonna have to keep in mind that we made it up to that spot, and we did not go down the entire way. But that was a lot of fun. It took me an hour, just for perspective, to get to that one spot. And that's kind of why I have to pack it in. But hopefully soon, we can do that trailer run. That would be a lot of fun as a stream. Guys, until then, I still have to do some showcase stuff too. I am ridiculously far behind on things, but hopefully, we'll be able to get through this and make some fun stuff in the future. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this video. I'll see you guys again soon.